Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a wrap up of what I read in January. And I'm trying to be very consistent with this because I don't want to do another what I read in the past 4 months kind of video because those are so tedious. So we're going to start off and do this before February ends because I read a lot of books in January. We're going to start off with The Winter Garden by Heidi Swain. And this was part of one of my reading vlogs, so you can see how I felt about it while I was reading through the main guy interest had a freaking flip phone, which was kind of cute and he didn't know how to use an actual phone too. So there's that. I don't think I liked this because it wasn't as romantic as I thought. But I gave it a good 2-star rating. And it's also part of a series, which I didn't know until like 2 weeks after I finished the book. The next book I read was, the next book was an audiobook called The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I think that's how you say that last name. And I gave this a 4-star. And it was very interesting. I could obviously tell what the ending was going to be like, but I also had to search up some parts of the plot that I was confused about. I really recommend this book if you like reading. I think this is a thriller book. Yeah, thriller or mystery books. This is like one of my favorites. Not going to lie, but I only gave it a 4-star. And then Heartstopper. I read the first and second volume of Heartstopper, so I'm just gonna get that out of the way. Okay, and then I read Don't You Forget About Me. I don't know how to. I don't want to try to butcher these authors' names, so I'm just gonna say the book title. So I read that book. I read one of her books last year, I think, and it was like an office romance. And then I read this one, and this one was so good. It made me cry, and I recommend this book. I gave it a 4-star. Highly recommend that book. And then I read Diary of a Madman. This is the book, and it has other stories, but they're all short stories. And I could just finish all of this in one go and just have it this. I think I should do that. But I just read Diary of a Madman, which is the first short story, and it's like 30 pages long or something. Not like 30 pages long. And I think there's a lot of other short stories in here, and I'm gonna include them individually because I haven't read this book in like a while, and I gave that book a 4-star. The next book is Reveal Me by Tahira Mafi. This is the novella that comes after the 5th book, and this one was very odd. We find out that Adam and James, Aaron's half-siblings, are taken into custody, and Kenji is like really angry at everyone, and this takes place like right after the 2nd book. Aaron's birthday party happens at the end of the 5th book, and then we just go off that, but it's Kenji's point of view. Yeah, I gave that 4 stars. I don't think any other Shatter Me book other than Ignite Me has been a 5-star. Next book, I finally finished the 5 a.m. Club. I started listening to the audiobook of this last year, and I never finished it, and I was using like the library system, so I had to wait a while to get it, and then I finally finished it, and I gave it a good 3-star rating. And I think about reading this book, and I think about how it's supposed to like inspire me to start waking up at 5 a.m. But when I wake up at 5 a.m. and I have no plan, I don't know what to do. But I kind of have a morning routine, so I can kind of start my morning routine at any time. But I just haven't done that at 5 a.m. yet. Okay, now I'm going to talk about all the manga books I read. I started with Dragon Ball Volume 1 because someone in my comment section recommended it and said it was peak. Don't ever trust someone who says something is peak. It usually isn't peak. It's usually just okay in some areas, wild in the other areas, but not all the time. I enjoyed reading that book. I gave Dragon Ball I'll even give the ratings for these books. I gave Dragon Ball, I didn't even rate it. Okay, 3 stars. And then Beautiful World, Where Are You? I gave it a 5-star read. I highly recommend this book. Literally read any Sally Rooney books. Even though I've only read 2, you need to read her books. there's like these two best friends who like constantly email each other and all that fun stuff. One time after spending a night with one of her childhood friends, this girl goes to church with him, and she was just talking about how it was so weird that people gather around to talk about the Bible and stuff like that. And she was thinking that her friend was like faking it or something. I don't know. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Bronze Key, 2 stars, and I'm starting the fourth book right now, and there's only 5 books, so I'm very close to finishing the series. I probably won't recommend it because this isn't something that I really enjoy reading. So, yeah. It's just about, I don't even remember what happened to this book. That's how you know it wasn't a good book. That's why I gave it a 2 star. And then Heaven, 4 stars. So at first, I thought the narrator was a girl. It's a boy, I'm pretty sure. So he gets bullied a lot, and there's this girl who also gets bullied a lot by the girls in their class, and one day the girl puts a note in his desk, and then eventually they start meeting up, and they never talk about the bullying. They always talk about like how their days have been or stuff like that. And then they go to like the museum, I think, because she's like, I'm gonna take you to heaven, and then they see like these paintings or something, and then she ends up cutting his hair, and I really thought the main character was a girl, and I was like, oh my god, it's a little lesbian book, but it's not. And then one of the guy is bullied by this group of guys, right? And one of the guys is like kind of this quiet kind of guy, and he sees him in public one day, and he's like, why do you bully us? And then he had like this thing where he didn't even say that much. It was just like I don't remember. It was just like the most unbothered kind of person ever and all that stuff. And then the main character and the girl, they meet up one day, and then a group of like the same sort of bullies come up, and then they force them to have sex right out in public. And I don't remember how the book ends. The second manga book I read was the first volume of first volume of Black Clover. I have the second volume right here, and I am going to probably finish the entire series because I'm not going to watch 51 episodes on an illegal anime website, so I'm just going to read the manga. Okay, and then I read volumes 10 to 12 of Kami Can't Communicate, and I'm so ready to finish the series because it's such a cute thing. I really recommend. Did I even read the 12th one? No. Sorry, I was looking at my Goodreads, not my actual log. I read only 10 and 11 of Kami Can't Communicate. And then Tokyo Ghoul Volume 1. I thought I was going to be scared, but I wasn't scared, which is a good thing. Yeah, it reminded me of Tommy, like this girl. And Sweet Home. That's what it reminded me of, but it wasn't as bad as Sweet Home, because when I tried to read Sweet Home on Webtoon, like 5 years ago, I was so scared. So I stopped reading it after the third episode. And then my last book that I'm going to talk about is 100 Years of Solitude. And I didn't really like this book because it just dragged on, and I thought it was just way longer than it needed to be, and I didn't get much out of it as I hoped. Okay, this is the end of the wrap-up. Goodbye. Hope you have a great day.